Hey everybody, welcome back to the Kizzy Show. My name is Kizzy, and we talk about what you want to hear. As you can notice, we have a new theme song because the other theme song is a little behind the scenes action right here. But I went on YouTube, I looked at royalty-free music, which means music that you won't get copyrighted for, and I chose one of those songs. But apparently it still had copyright restrictions, so we had to change that song because I don't want to get sued, and I want to make money off of this. So, this week we're going to react to the previous week of college football, and we're going to have a lot to say about that. And then we're going to pick the games for week 2, which it's a little bit of a sleeper week. I'm not going to lie. We kind of had to dig deep to find some pretty good games. But try to do this by myself. Silas had to take a class for the ACT because that boy needs to get some money for college. So, y'all be praying for Silas. Just hopefully he makes a good score, and hopefully he'll be back next time. But let's get on with the episode. Let's react to some of the action from the first week of college football, starting with, this is just pathetic right here. Either FSU is just elite this year. Apparently, I was wrong last week. I said you can't fix 2-10 in 1 week. Apparently you can. You definitely can. And either they're just elite this year or Alabama is just buns, like straight booty cheeks. But like all things in Tuscaloosa, anytime Alabama does something bad, everybody overreacts. This may be the first legitimate reaction to this, because what we saw from that team on Saturday was just absolutely pathetic, unexcusable. Normally, I'd be like, guys, y'all are all overreacting. I feel like this is a pretty legitimate reaction. But Alabama's got to be way better. And maybe Florida State's going to win the whole thing this year. I don't know. But that was not a good day for the Tide. They did not roll. They got rolled. It was not good. Some teams that had a really good day Saturday were LSU and Miami, taking out two pretty heavyweight teams like Clemson and Notre Dame. All four of these teams played a decent game. Notre Dame did not have a good first half. Miami kind of rolled them in the first half, and they had to claw their way back in the fourth quarter. They had to have a monster fourth quarter just to get back in the game, but they still played a respectable game. Clemson had a pretty good first half against LSU, couldn't quite finish the second half, but they still played a decent game. But LSU and Miami really established themselves as national title contenders. These teams are legit. LSU honestly could have beat Clemson by 2 or 3 touchdowns. They had that one touchdown catch that was overturned, which, as a lifelong Clemson Tiger fan, I think that was a terrible call. That should have been a touchdown. And Miami could have definitely ran away with that game as well. So LSU and Miami, they are legit. And third and final takeaway from week 1 is that Ohio State showed the country why they are number 1. They're the defending national champs. They should have been number 1 in the preseason, like we said on our preseason episode, and they proved why. They beat a Texas team who, on paper, looked way more talented, way more complete. It looked like they were bringing back a lot more. And Ohio State, they took them to the woodshed. It was not pretty, but they got the job done. And just a little side note about Texas. The announcers on Fox, they pointed this out, Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, but Texas's offensive play calling was so unlike what they were last year. There was none of the classic Sarkisian motioning and play action and all that. They just looked it was bland, and I don't know. If that's as good as Texas offense is going to get, then they are by no means a national title contender. So Texas has to get back to being what they were last year, and Ohio State needs to continue this momentum they got. So that was week 1. Let's dive into our picks for week number 2. First game we're going to talk about this week is a little in-state matchup between the South Florida Bulls and the number 13 ranked Florida Gators. South Florida kind of put the entire nation on notice last Thursday night when they took Boise State to the woodshed, pretty much tanning their hide pretty effectively. Florida has the toughest schedule in the nation, and this game is not exactly a cakewalk, but let's get into it. Anyways, our Kizzy key is which team can get rolling first, because if South Florida starts this game off hot and they get out to a little, I don't know, 7-0, 14-0 kind of lead, and they start rolling, it's like, whoa, okay. I don't know if Florida can kind of keep up with that, but vice versa. If Florida jumps out on top and they're up 7-0, 14-0, 21-3, something like that, there's no shot South Florida can catch up. So, which team can really get the ball rolling first? That's the question. And then my pick for the game is Florida. I have Florida to win and cover. Silas, he has Florida to win, but South Florida to cover. So a little interesting. I think Florida just has too much talent, and because of what South Florida did last week, I think Florida is going to be ready for them. Billy Napier is going to have those guys ready to rock and roll. So give me the Gators to win and cover. Our next game takes us to the Bluegrass State of Kentucky for a little SEC matchup. The Ole Miss Rebels take on the Wildcats. Kentucky actually pulled a big-time upset in this game last year. So can I do it again? We don't know. Kizzy key for the game is, can Kentucky slow down Ole Miss just enough to keep pace, kind of like last year? The score was 20-17. Kentucky won that game. And Kentucky's not going to be able to stop Ole Miss. But can they just slow them down? Just slow them down a little bit just so they can stay close. They just got to stay close and then pull away at the end. That's what they can do to win. And if if Kentucky can't slow down Ole Miss, then it's going to get ugly fast. So, Silas and I agree on this game. We both have Ole Miss to win and cover. Kentucky looked pretty cheeks last week. I'm not going to lie. They struggled against Toledo, who is in the MAC. And, unless you're Mississippi State, an SEC team should not be struggling with Toledo. I say that because State lost to Toledo last year. I love to remind my buddy Timmy Kern of that. Shout out to Timmy. So he's the biggest State fan I know. But I was like, how about Toledo? I was working with during the summer. And I was like, hey, bet y'all glad you ain't playing Toledo this year, right? And then they almost lost to Southern Miss last week. But anyways, Ole Miss is going to win and cover. I think there's too much offense, and they looked really good. So give me the Rebels. Our next game is one of my favorite rivalry matchups in all of college football. These games are always super close, super competitive, and for some reason, we play them in week 2. It's the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy between Iowa State and Iowa. These games, it's a coin flip every single time. No matter the records, throw out the records. It's always a coin flip. Our Kizzy key for the game is, can Iowa State stop the run? If they can, and force Iowa to beat them through the air, that's a very, very good outcome for the Cyclones right there. If not, then Iowa will run down their throat, and it'll just be a pound kind of game. And the Hawkeyes will probably win that. Iowa has a new quarterback, transferred up from a FCS school. He's a really good runner, but don't know how good of a passer he is. So if Iowa State can make Iowa one-dimensional, then they will have a great shot to win the game. My pick for the game is, I think Iowa State is going to win. I'm taking Iowa to cover, though, because that line is a little too big. I think the line is 4.5. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 point win. That's how it's been the past couple years. So I think Iowa State wins outright. Iowa covers. Iowa State has already shut down one very good mobile quarterback this year. Avery Johnson played for Kansas State. He can throw better than this guy from Iowa can. I think he can run better as well. So I think Iowa State can do that again. And I think their offense will do just enough to edge out the Hawkeyes right here. So that's it. South's pick, sorry. He has Iowa State to win and cover. So that's what we got. Our final game to preview for this week is the game of the week between number 15 Michigan and number 18 Oklahoma. This game is in Norman, so it'll be a good little SEC versus Big Ten showdown. Both these teams have some pretty high-profile quarterbacks, and they should be looking to rebound after both teams had disappointing years last year. So our Kizzy key for the game is, can Oklahoma run the ball? They only had 103 rushing yards against Eastern Illinois. It's a little concerning. Their starting running back, Jaden Ott, who was a little hurt. He only had 1 carry for -3 yards. That's not good. And Michigan is not Eastern Illinois. So if Oklahoma can't run the ball and they're forcing John Mateer to sling it all game, then it's not going to be good for the Fighting Venables, for sure. Time for the picks. Silas, he has Oklahoma to win and cover. I have Oklahoma to win. I think Michigan's going to cover. I'm going to kind of hedge my bets because I went 0-4 last week in both of these. And, I mean, I think Oklahoma's going to win, but I can see a scenario in which Michigan comes out there. Their defense really locks in. They force Oklahoma to have to beat them running the ball. Oklahoma can't do that. Bryce Underwood has a great game, and Michigan wins. I don't think that'll happen, though, but I take Michigan to cover. So, let's recap. Let's look at our picks. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to kind of slide to the side. Wesley, can you see the whole screen? I'm over here. All right, thank you. Shout out to my cameraman, Wesley Aziz. If you heard some loud groanings and moanings whenever we were talking about Alabama, that was him. Just want to get that out of the way. Passionate man. Amen. He loves the Tide. Roll Tide. But, okay, as you see, I went 0-4. Silas went 1-3 straight up. And against the spread, he went 2-2. I went 0-4 Palmer. But this week, we both got Florida, both got okay, our straight-ups are all the same. Oh, wow. Just now realized that. That's cool. We differ a little bit against the spread. I have Iowa and Michigan to cover. He has, that should say Iowa State. I'm going to go and fix that but he had Iowa State. So, yeah, those are the picks, and we'll just have to see how we do. Hey, if you're betting, and you probably want to bet against us, against our picks, because you can see we're not too good at this. But if you bet against us, that means we're probably going to start doing good. So hopefully we do a lot better than last week. But, yeah, that's it. This concludes another episode of The Kizzy Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, doing notifications, all that jazz, so you don't miss out on any episodes. We have an episode every Saturday like this one, but Monday through Friday we have a devotional series. I basically walk you through what I've been reading in God's Word. It's called Setting the Tone. You should check that out. Really good stuff right there. If you're a student at the University of Alabama and you don't have anything to do Tuesday night, go to Monarch Coffee House at 7 and enjoy a night of worship and fellowship with Capstone Church. Our college group meets there every Tuesday. I've not done any super segments for this season. I'm sorry about that. That's just going to take a lot to do, and I'm really busy right now. So you may not get super segments for a little while. So sorry about that. Last announcement. If you need your gutters cleaned and you live in the Tuscaloosa area, because fall is coming, and fall means leaves, and leaves fall in your gutters, and you don't want leaves in your gutters. So if you need your gutters cleaned, call 256-468-8772. That is 256-468-8772. There's a saying that people don't get stuff unless you say it 3 times, so I'm going to say that number one more time. 256-468-8772 for a free estimate, gutter inspection, flushing and rinsing, and then debris removal. You can call or text for a free estimate today. One of my buddies runs that business, so you'll get some quality gutter cleaning. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Kizzy Show. God bless y'all. Have a great week, and hopefully Alabama can beat ULM. We'll see.